Come on, pretty girl, sing a song now.
I downloaded TikTok, which like exploded in 2020. And like immediately I'm just being shown all of the lesbian thirst traps. Like, I don't know how the TikTok algorithm does it, but it knew I was gay before I did. It really did. And it was specific videos. It was like women who left long-term relationships with men and came out as a lesbian. And I'm like, you're getting a little too real here. Outside of church, I can't think of any homophobic people that I knew. You know, my family was pretty accepting, funny enough, but because I wasn't super close to them, I was just so gravitated towards the church. I actually found out after my dad passed away that he was gay. I didn't know this, and my mom didn't tell me because she knew that I was so involved in the church that I wouldn't accept it. It's really interesting because I feel like if I had never gotten involved in the church, I wouldn't have had that really homophobic block. I was brought up to believe that like my feelings weren't valid or that they weren't real, or that if I was feeling something, anything other than what I was supposed to be feeling, that it was wrong. I think that I always had different coping mechanisms. I always loved to numb out how I was feeling. I was obsessed with health and fitness to an unhealthy level. I was running marathons and binge watching Netflix, reading books, or scrolling TikTok, scrolling Instagram. I always had something that I was always focusing my mind on so that I wouldn't have to think about my own feelings. I was scared of them in some ways, like I didn't want to have to open that door, so I filled all those doors with other things. I had been thinking for probably close to a year at that point, like that maybe I liked women as well. And it was actually my ex who had brought it up like many times, because we would like watch movies together with like beautiful women in it, and you know, I would be checking them out, he'd be checking them out, and I would be like checking them out but saying like, oh, I'm just admiring them because I want to look like them, and he'd be like, are you sure? Like, because you don't look at the guys like that. And so like we had a lot of conversations, and at that point, like I guess I sort of came out to him as bi. I thought, well, you know, I know for sure that like I think women are beautiful. I know I'm attracted to them, so I must be bi because I'm in a relationship with you. You're a man, so the numbers make sense, right? And I didn't really take a ton of time to really consider what attraction or like love really was. Intimacy was a big problem between us. Like he was never satisfied because I never wanted to do anything with him. If I, you know, didn't want to be intimate with him, a few glasses of wine later, okay, fine, I'll do it. I remember he would always say like, oh, we have to do it at least once a week. And every week, like if it had been like a week, I'd be like, oh, like we have to do it again. Like, ugh, like, not looking forward to that. I could never like get aroused. I literally went to a doctor and was like, there's something wrong with me. And he was like, we can run blood tests. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with you. My ex, he would always complain about like, you know, you never touch me. Like, I remember he would try so hard to get me to cuddle with him. We would go to bed and I'd be like, fine, I'm setting an alarm for 5 minutes. We can cuddle for 5 minutes and then you can't touch me. And like, he would look forward to those 5 minutes, just not in tune with who I was. And then at one point he brought up, he was like, well, why don't we like open up our relationship? Like bring in another woman. And I was like, yeah, that sounds great. We can do that. And so I was like on Tinder talking to women. There was this one girl I was talking to for a bit, and we would have like, you know, really spicy conversations. And I remember this was the first time that I was enjoying having a spicy conversation. The plan always was that we were gonna like do a three-way. And I remember the more I thought about it, the more I thought like I just didn't want him to be involved at all. I had a female friend and I realized I was having a bit of a crush on her, and I was just very confused by this. I was trying to talk myself out of it. It was the whole, oh, you know, you don't have a crush on her, you want to look like her. The same thing that I've been telling myself for like 15 years. I remember when COVID canceled our wedding, I think I was probably the only COVID bride who was happy that her wedding got canceled. And of course everyone around me was like, oh, like when you're getting married, you must be so upset that you had to cancel your wedding twice. And I was like, oh yes, I'm so upset. Like just devastated. I did make the decision that I needed to leave. I remember sitting on the beach with my best friend. When I said to her, I was like, I'm gonna leave the relationship. And she was like, oh, I'm so happy. We're gonna get you a really great boyfriend. And I was like, I don't think I want a boyfriend. Like, I think I want a girlfriend. And she was like, we're gonna get you a girlfriend. Once you learn how to assert your own boundaries and like stick up for yourself, like in one aspect of your life, it kind of just spells out into all the other aspects of your life. took a lot of planning. It was so stressful those 3-4 months before I left. I waited for him to leave, and the second he did, I just started packing everything. I packed up all of my clothes, all of my stuff. I packed like whatever I was gonna take, put it into my car, and I just drove to my new place. I think I ended up doing 3 carloads of my stuff. And then I took I took the wine fridge, I took 1 shelf, and I will never forget this. The first thing he said when he called was, "You took the wine fridge?" Not my fiance is leaving me, just, "You took the wine fridge?" You know, you're sad that I'm gone, but you're even more sad that your possessions are gone. If he was a good guy, would I have left him? I don't know. It could have been one of those situations where I got married and 10 years down the road, wondered why I wasn't happy. Because I know there was something always missing in that relationship. If he had been like a better partner, it might have been easier in some ways to leave, because then I could have like maybe talked it through. This girl I follow on TikTok talks about how like her getting into a relationship with a good guy is what made her realize she was a lesbian, because she'd only dated bad guys. She always assumed that the reason she wasn't happy was because it was the guy, and then she finally dated a really great guy, and then the relationship issues were still there because she realized that, you know, she wasn't attracted to men. So, I mean, I think it would have happened eventually that I would have realized it. It just, maybe it would have taken longer. I'm not sure. My best friend is like, "We should get you on a dating app." And I was like, we literally broke up 4 hours ago. Maybe we should like slow it down a little bit. But then a couple days later, I was like, I'm lonely. Like, I want to kiss a girl. Let's go on Tinder. So I like downloaded Tinder, and I was messaging with this girl for a bit. So I went over to her place, and her boyfriend was there, and we were just drinking because I needed some liquid courage. And then her boyfriend went to the bathroom, and then she looked at me and she's like, "Can I try something?" And I was like, "What?" And then she kissed me, and I was like, "Whoa." And then we just, you know, were making out for quite a while. Her boyfriend came back and was like, "I missed something here." That first time I kissed her, or I guess she kissed me, I was like, wow, her skin is so soft. And like her face is soft, her hair smells good. And that's just one thing that I liked. Like, I love how soft women are. I always hated like, you know, anytime I was with guys, they were, I don't know, they're so like hard, like their bodies. And then, you know, I went on a couple more dates with a couple other girls, and I never really went anywhere, but like, you know, at that point I knew that I definitely liked women. I knew that I also wasn't really ready for a relationship because, you know, I had just gotten out of one. I really wanted to enjoy like living alone and just being on my own and being with my friends and just learning how to live my life again. I didn't really want to do the casual dating thing. It wasn't really for me. I am someone that prefers like a more genuine connection. When I was like, you know what, I think I'm like ready to start dating. Like I wanna like at least try, because it's probably gonna take me a long time to actually find somebody. And so I reopened or reactivated my Tinder account. And so there was one night I was swiping, and then my girlfriend's profile comes up. And so I thought, you know what, I'll swipe right on her. Probably 10 minutes later, she matches with me. And so she messages me first, and I'll never forget her first message. She wrote, "A lesbian woman, where do I park my U-Haul?" And I wrote back, "Well, it depends. How do you feel about cats and plants?" And she said, "Well, I like the color green for plants, and I like dogs." And I was like, okay, well, you know what? That works for me. She asked me if I wanted to meet up, and I was like, yeah, let's meet up for drinks somewhere. So we planned this like first date, and then I drove home, and I was like, I don't know how that went. I don't know if she really liked me. I don't know. Neither of us texted each other for 2 days. Exactly 48 hours later, she messaged me, like it was 48 hours on the dot. And then she was like, hey, I had a great time on Saturday. Do you want to meet up again? And I was like, yeah, sure. So we plan a second date. We go to the movies. This was, I think, the moment where I was like, oh, like she's a really, like she's it, because we planned this movie date. She like, you know, gets the tickets and everything. She picks me up, and then she knows that I'm vegan. She's not vegan herself, but she was like, okay, well, I don't think there's gonna be anything at the movie theater that Sam can eat. So she like went to the grocery store and is trying to find these vegan snacks for me. And she doesn't even really at this point know what is vegan, but her friend is vegan. She's like, what can Sam eat? What can I get her? So she got me these vegan chocolate chip cookies and crackers because she didn't know if I wanted sweet or savory. And she brought them and I was like, wow, you actually like put in that much like effort. It was the effort, the planning that I was like, okay. Even though it's like, you know, a $6 snack, but like that's just what did it for me because it was the planning. But then of course I'm like so like nervous during the movie. I know that she was trying to like get me to like get closer to her, but I was literally like frozen up, like so nervous that I didn't move the whole movie. I go home, I get ready for bed, and then I wear a Fitbit. I open my Fitbit app, and it actually, my heart rate was so like low and I was so still that it thought I was sleeping during the movie. And so I texted her, I made a joke, I was like, hey, look, my Fitbit even thought I was sleeping, because like she had made a joke about me being like really like still. She later told me that at that point, like after that date, she thought that like I really wasn't into her because like I didn't give her any indication that I was. But then because I texted her, she was like, oh, there's something there, okay. And so yeah, we met up again a few days later, we ordered sushi, and then we talked all evening. Eventually I'm so tired that I could barely keep my eyes open. I'm like, okay, I should go. And then I'm like going to the door, and then I go to leave, and then she's like, wait, I want to give you a kiss before you go. So she kissed me, and I was like, finally, like finally you kissed me. It was so intense at first because like I think it's the first time that I'm like with someone that I'm truly like attracted to, and at the same time I'm recognizing that she's a really healthy person in the sense that like she has green flags, there's no red flags here, and my body doesn't know how to react to that. I only know how to deal with red flags. With my ex-fiance, it was like such an unhealthy relationship that I hadn't really ever been in a healthy relationship as an adult. I think I tested a lot of boundaries at the beginning, like, is she gonna leave me if I like, you know, do this? Is she gonna leave me if I do that? If something that she did would trigger me, for instance, I would feel like I needed to fix it or like fix her or calm her down, even though she didn't need me to do that and she wasn't asking me to do that. There would be times when if she just like needed some time alone, I would be like, why? Like, what did I do? What did I do? Like going through all the things that I could have done to try and figure it out. Like, how can I apologize? What can I do to like make her happy again? We went for a walk and she was like, which way do you want to go? Like left or right? And I was like, I don't know, which way do you want to go? And she was like, I want you to pick. And I was like, I don't know. And then she was like, could you just pick a way? Like just pick one. And I remember like, I think I just got a flashback to like my ex just telling me to do something. Even though like it was a completely different situation, of course. People always say that, you know, you've got your fight, flight, or freeze. I would freeze and shut down. She would want to know things that had happened to me, and I would be really uncomfortable talking about them at first because, you know, the only person that I'd really ever talked them through would be like, you know, with my therapist or my best friend. And it was just like, I guess kind of hard for me to like open up. I think I felt a lot of shame that I had like allowed myself to be in those kind of relationships before. When I did eventually just like, you know, tell her, you know, all these stories of things that had happened to me, that allowed her to like understand a bit more of like why certain things affect me. But it's been like a lot of work and working on myself and realizing that I can't change the things that I've been through, but it's my responsibility to heal from them. Like I can't just expect, you know, the world to cater to me. I can't expect everyone to like change their behavior because like I might be triggered by it. It's definitely helping me be a better communicator myself. It took a bit for me to become more comfortable with being able to actually just vocalize things. In all of my past relationships, it's always been like, my relationships have happened to me. Like I never really felt like I was an active participant in them. And so like with my girlfriend, it's funny enough when we talked about it, it's like, I keep talking about like me proposing to her. I really love what I have going on right now. I don't really feel like I need to experience anything else because like I have found this really amazing love and I love our relationship and I really love her and I can see a future with her. I love everything about being attracted to women. I think there are also a lot more people who are bi than they realize, and I think that's why we're also seeing a ton of women come out as bi these days, is because now they're unpacking everything. And it's become a lot more acceptable. When I'm with a girl, it's just so easy, it's just so natural now. I would like never go back to men now that I know what it's like to be with a woman. It's just way different.